I think even in light of recent events with family and all that, I was talking to Austin Forsyth about this. You cherish aspects of your life that you often take for granted, you know?
Yeah, I think it's been a hard season, and the pain that those open wounds, I think, it reopens wounds from the past, and that's hard.
You know, the devastation of Joe's behavior isn't just the effects on Joe. It's the effect on all those who he's damaged, but it's also his children have just lost their father. And so what does that do for me? It makes me hug my kids tighter and say, well, I want to be the best father I can be for them.
Even in the darkness, you see that God is carrying you through and you are relying on him. There's a deep conviction and strength that you know that God is trustworthy and you know his word is trustworthy.
We are going to take this week to give a little bit of a life update. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Jinger and Jeremy podcast. And we are going to take this week to give a little bit of a life update. Obviously, the last couple weeks, recent events have been topsy-turvy. But as we're just getting it back into the pace of life, just here around the Volo house, we thought we'd give you guys a little insight into where we're at today. And a couple things. Okay, Ginge? First, I think in coming days, there will be time for us to process some of the recent events surrounding your family, our family, from maybe like a more of a theological lens. And what I mean by that is like, not just trying to be a seminary guy, but there are realities behind the Bill Gothard system that I think contribute to some of what we're seeing in headlines. Ideas have consequences. And when people believe, teach, and believe certain ideas about who they are, who God is, what sin is, it has consequences. And if those ideas are false, they have dangerous consequences. So I think there's going to be, in coming weeks, we're going to have that discussion or those discussions, but they're not new discussions. Sorry, I'm dominating this intro, Ginge, but you've written about this in your book, Becoming Free Indeed.
Yeah, I think that that's something that keeps coming to mind. A lot of the similarities of what we've walked through before, but then also what I've talked about before. And I definitely do want to touch on that. I think maybe not this week. And we'll definitely circle back and have that conversation soon.
That's good. So be on the lookout for that, listeners. Okay, here's the other thing I wanted to mention. You ready for this, Ginge?
I don't know if I'm ready for this.
Hey, guys, look what I have in my hands. These are mini Ginger Volo books. Look at this. I want to go up to this camera. Look at these books. Can you see? They are so tiny. We got to find the girl's name on Etsy real quick. All right, these are little books, mini books that Michaela from the Sticker Shop, you can find her on the Sticker Shop Etsy, or I think her Instagram is the Sticker Shop 20. Check her out. She has these little books and she has little earrings, and you can see behind me, framed here, are some of these. I found these on the internet and I ordered some, and then she reached out and was like, hey, noticed your last name. Are you Ginger's husband? And they're the coolest little things.
That is super cool.
They're so tiny. Okay, just giving Michaela a little shout out.
I like it.
So, Ginge, how are you doing? I've got some life update questions to ask you for our people. Obviously, I know the life updates because I'm living this life with you. I always think that's funny when people are like, why'd you ask her that? You know you're her husband. And I'm like, for you guys. But how are you doing?
I am hanging in there. Yeah, it was a long week. And also, it's good just to have normal life routines happening. And so very thankful for that. I've been out trying to get our guest bathroom sorted. So we've had like ideas for how to decorate it for a while, and I'm trying to execute all of that. So that's what I've been doing, is like looking up on Amazon, looking on Facebook Marketplace, trying to see if there's any old mirror that would go in that bathroom, and then getting all the other accessories to complement it. So that's what I've been up to in the past 24 hours.
Yeah. It's going to look good in there.
I hope
Joy
so.
and Austin, when they came out and visited, helped paint the whole thing like a hunter green.
Yeah.
So it looks good. Maybe we can throw some pics up of that little reno project. Or you put some on your
I'm going to put some on
Instagram.
Instagram too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
cool.
put some on there.
Okay, this is a big update. We got a mold issue and we were out of our house for almost 6 days. Went to a local hotel and
That was crazy.
that was crazy.
Like, really, really crazy.
When you buy an old home, there's so many upsides to a home like this. It's got character, it's got good bones, it's unique. It's that old English Tudor, or maybe it's a French Tudor style. And so we love those things about an older home, but then it comes with some downsides like maintenance.
Yeah.
Maintenance.
So that's part of the challenge of this home. We're very thankful for it. We're so blessed, very thankful. And at the same time, there are these things that keep popping up.
Mm-hmm.
So this time it was a leak in the roof, and it came kind of through like what looked like it was coming through the window, this really old, beautiful stained glass window. It's like a circle one.
Yeah, right above
It's
our
right
front
above
door.
our front door. We have this really old front door that's super cool. It's like arched.
Which I never
has
want to
a
fix, by the
knocker
way.
Thing on it.
It creaks.
Yes.
And I love that it creaks.
Yeah, because we're in an older style house. And so it's kind of interesting. But with that, the water leak happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it was basically, I think the eave of the house is where it was coming in.
Yeah.
So there's like a little overhang by the door, and the water came down. What we thought it was coming from like midway, I guess. And so we had guys come rip that out.
Yep.
And they remediated the section that had water damage in the mold that was there previously.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put the whole thing back together, and we had a very bad rainstorm.
Well, thankfully, we had a bad rainstorm because
Yes.
it revealed the leak was higher.
Yeah.
And so we tested, I think there was 2 leaks is what happened, but there's so many layers to the roof there that it rains, and it's like a heavy rain, thankfully.
It was one of those rains that was blowing sideways, which is rare for
not
LA
common
because it's more like a drizzle, or we'll have like a downpour, but it doesn't last that long. And this one was blowing sideways, so it was able to come inside, and you could see how under that eave, it was dripping down from like 20 feet up
Yeah.
in our entryway.
And there is nothing, if you're a fellow homeowner, you can relate to this. There is nothing worse than doing a remodel or a repair and then realizing it needs to all be taken out and redone.
The worst feeling.
So that first day of rain, exactly where the new drywall, new insulation, new everything was put in, and it's like leaking worse than before.
Yeah.
And so we realized, oh man. So then we open up. Well, when we open up for the leak, you just keep opening up, and they're seeing there's more mold because of that second leak.
It was rough.
So
It
we're
was
sitting there going,
so
are you
bad.
kidding me?
And it was next to the bedrooms. And so unfortunately, when one section got pulled out, it wasn't properly sealed off. So they had to get us out of the house. So we were out of the house for what was it, a week? It was almost
about 6 days.
Yeah, 6 days. It was almost a week. And it was interesting. Like at first we were like, okay, we can make the most of this. We'll stay in a hotel and get a decent hotel because we don't do that all the time and make a little getaway out of it.
Which the kids love.
It was,
Mine, or regardless that they've gone from having their own bedroom and a playroom and space in a house to one room.
They didn't love that part.
Well, I was going to say, as a kid at that age, you don't care. You're in a hotel. It's like an adventure.
They just didn't sleep very well.
That's the problem.
We were frustrated the first night because everybody was adjusting to a new normal. We want to take a break from this episode to tell you about Cove.
I don't think there's many things more important than security for your family. And a lot of us maybe haven't thought about home security. Cove Smart makes it easy. It's secure security. It's accessible, meaning you can access the cameras in your home, the alarm system from your phone, no matter where you are. Cove Smart makes home security very simple.
Oh, yeah. I remember once being at home and our neighbor's house got broken into next door, and it freaked me out. And after that, we got a home security system immediately because it matters.
And I wish, that was years ago, I wish we had known about Cove Smart because the installation for that was expensive. It was tedious. This makes it so easy. Go to Cove Smart and check out all the needs you have for your home. They walk you through it. It's less than $1 a day. The convenience of it is phenomenal. So make protecting your home a top priority. Go to covesmart.com/ginger or use code JINGER, Ginger, at checkout for up to 60% off your first order. And if you get a survey, please tell them that we sent you from the podcast.
We want to take a break from this episode to tell you about Cure.
Ginger has been drinking Cure every single day.
Every single day. So I am all about hydration, and I typically only drink water or coffee. Like, that's it. And primarily I try to drink a lot of water. Like,
because it's the cleanest way.
Yeah, and especially in this season, I feel like I keep feeling like I was feeling dehydrated for a while. So I wanted to add in electrolytes, but then I wanted something that was a little bit healthier.
Yeah, and Cure is made with clean ingredients, 0 added sugar, giving you pure hydration without any of the junk, which is everywhere today, right? So only 25 calories per serving, no added sugars or artificial sweeteners, just clean, natural hydration that keeps you feeling energized without a crash.
Cure is doctor approved and safe for the whole family, from adults to kids ages 1 and up.
So for our listeners, for the Ginger and Jeremy podcast, Cure is offering 20% off your first order. Stay hydrated and feel your best by visiting curehydration/ginger and using promo code Ginger at checkout. That's curehydration.com/ginger and use code Ginger at checkout for 20% off your first order.
Now back to the episode. We were in a new place and it was so exciting. And so we had kids bouncing off the beds. They were having so much fun. And then we're like, it's time for bed.
The problem is they're not. So Felicity's 7, Evie's 5, Finn has been 11 months, was at that time around 11 months. And they don't all go to bed at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have kids, you'd think, oh, it's time for bed. Put the kids down and they all fall asleep. Not how kids work.
Yeah.
And so one would fall asleep, the other would be half asleep, the other would be wired. So then you get the one who's wired calm while the other one's up now. And it was just like this whack-a-mole of kids. You're just like,
yeah, it was
they could not all just fall asleep.
It was so crazy.
So you start this bedtime process at 7:30. It's 9:15 and you're going, ah!
No one's asleep. They're all waking each other up. Yeah, that literally happened a couple nights later. There was a friend of yours in town. And so he was actually staying at the same hotel. So you went downstairs to have, a little chat with him and catch up. And I was like, go down, hang out with him. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So you go down, and I kid you not, I had all the lights off. The kids were in their pajamas in beds, all the beds in the room. And one of them just got wired. And
I know who it is.
They would not go to sleep, So I finally, after an hour, I thought, what should I do? So I turned on a couple lights and I said, everybody, you can get up. Everybody can get up. This is like what you don't do in parenting, like give in to the kid.
Yep.
But I was like, everybody get up,
Playtime.
Play for a minute, get a snack. So they all got a snack and they played, and
it was just a false start.
It was chaos.
Like the first attempt at bedtime was like false start. Okay, everybody get back. We'll try bedtime again in a minute.
So then after that, like I put them all back in the bed, probably 30, 40 minutes later.
They got in and out.
They were exhausted. Yeah. So they just had more energy. And I think it's part of that excitement. I know how it is. You're going on a trip or something the next day and you're just thinking about all the things you need to do and it's hard to fall asleep. Mm-hmm. They're in that boat because they're excited to be in a new place. It's great.
And it is, Evie especially. Evie loves bed. Mm-hmm. It's so funny to see the different personalities of the kids. But Evie loves to sleep. She gets that from me, I think. I see myself in different ways in each of the kids, but Evie loves to sleep. So when it's bedtime, she's like, yeah,
I'll go to bed.
Let's go.
Sure.
But there are certain nights where if she's wired, we're cooked. Like she's just going to be bouncing off the walls.
Yep. Yeah.
So it doesn't happen often. Felicity is more consistently like, I don't want to go to sleep.
Yeah. She always has so much energy.
She'll say stuff like, she'll come out of bed and go, Daddy, I don't want to go to bed. And you go, Felicity, you got to go to bed. And she'll go, Dad, I don't know how to sleep. And you go, Felicity, this is the only constant you've had in your life from the first moment you were born is you know how to sleep.
Yeah.
And she'll go, I don't know how to sleep. How do I fall asleep? And she just resists sleep.
Yeah. Or she'll get up and want to help out with things around the house. She'll be like, Mom.
Yeah, she becomes very helpful.
Is there anything I can do? Just anything. And I'm like, well, how about you go to sleep? She's like, no, I mean like clean, like help you, pick out the clothes for tomorrow.
It's incredible how a child's appetite grows when they don't want to go to bed. All of a sudden they're hungry even though they didn't want to eat dinner. They become very helpful. They all of a sudden want to do things that an hour before did not tempt them at all.
Yep.
Like sit still and read a book. Dad, read me another book, But those are special. Those are sweet days.
They are.
And it's so we're in this hotel. Anyway, back to our mold story. And one of the problems was we were trying to figure out the remediation. So, okay, they have to come back and remediate the mold. But then because some of it was opened and they didn't know there was going to be mold, you now have spores throughout the house. And now there's other testing that needs to be done and then more remediation that has to happen.
Make sure it was safe to come back into the house.
So there's like 3 or 4 components to this thing where we're in contact with different mold specialists. We're in contact with our general contractor who's going to be redoing the work and all this stuff. And so we're going to the hotel, for instance, we'd go, we're going to stay another night. And then the next day you go, we're going to stay another 2 nights. And you go back, okay, we're going to stay another. It was one of those. So that makes it more tough because you don't know how long you're going to be there. And then you start getting those anxious thoughts of, are we ever going to go home? Is our home condemned?
Let's get rid of the house.
Yeah. Do we braze it to the ground? Is that the right word? Braze? Probably not. Graze? Burn it to the ground. Do you how do you, and obviously everything's been cared for and taken care of. So it's been great. But in the midst of that, you start thinking, my goodness. And then you start looking at the hotel bill and go, goodness, every night is costing us this much money. So that was, but however, one thing I do like about moments like that is it reminds you how little you need to live.
Yes. Or how much you need to bring to the hotel. Because we did take very little with us.
I mean,
we did.
Okay, I'm thinking from my self-centered viewpoint, I had like a pair of shoes and a shirt. You are thinking as a sweet, selfless mother.
3 pairs of shoes and a shirt. Not kidding.
Okay. Yeah, maybe in my truck. I gotta go. But you're thinking, you know what? You're right, Ginge. You had this massive suitcase of all the children's things.
And then how many times did I have to get clothes over and over again from the house?
That's true.
I would go because I was trying not to get things that were in line of the situation. So I went to the dryer and I was like digging through the dryer, trying to find something that would have been sealed off in there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Because,
they sprayed and everything.
Yeah. Crazy. Crazy.
I wonder, didn't some people on the gram give us some helpful tips? What's interesting about this social media world, like obviously the people listening, we don't have the privilege of knowing everybody, right? And so, we're sitting here talking to each other in our studio and looking at a lens. But then when we post something like that on social media, people send us messages and they are so helpful, like insightful suggestions, stuff like that. So it's funny, like sharing your life on social media is this reciprocal relationship where people go, oh, you're having a mold issue. Have you thought about this? Or have you contacted this company or whatever? And it actually turns out to be really helpful. So
yeah, for sure. I was happy for all the advice that we got. We got a ton of advice, which is really great.
Sometimes you put out a life update to be like, hey, anybody dealt with this before?
Yeah.
So there's that. Okay, here's a huge milestone for us in our life that we need to make everyone aware of. And that is our son, Finnegan, is 1 year old.
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
A year, Ginge, has passed.
A year. I remember sitting in the hospital, waiting to get induced, thinking, when is this baby going to come?
Oh, yeah.
We want to take a break from this episode to tell you about Function Health.
As parents with young kids, sleep is a huge part of our day, or a lack of sleep. And one of the very cool things about Function Health is it will tell you if you're getting enough rest by the levels of inflammation. When you take your lab tests and send them to Function Health, the report will actually show you if you're getting the rest you need, which is wild. I didn't think blood tests would tell me if I'm sleep deprived or not.
Yeah, it gives you all those results to know like exactly what's happening in your body so you can pinpoint what you need to work on and you can boost the things that are missing. And it's just a great way to be proactive about your health.
Yeah, and through Function Health, you can really start to understand what is happening in your body. It's a comprehensive look at your health. So here's our call to action. Start by understanding what's happening beneath the surface. Own your health for, get this, it's only $365 a year, which is $1 a day. For you to understand your health, that's very cheap. Over the last few years, Function started in like $600 and they've been dropping the price, making it more accessible for so many more people. That's $1 a day. Learn more. Join Function using our link. Visit functionhealth.com/ginger and use code GINGER25 for $25 credit toward your membership.
Now back to the episode. How has it been a year since that moment?
I know it does feel like yesterday.
It's insane.
And what's crazy is Finn is growing so quickly. So he started walking at 9 months.
Yeah.
He's running now and climbing like crazy. And now he's like backpedaling quickly.
Yes, he backpedals.
I don't know if that's a metric of child's growth. Like when did they backpedal quickly?
I mean, like he's going to be a great
He walked at 9. Player. He backpedaled quickly at 12 months. But the homie is agile.
He does. Yeah. He'll like back up like 5 steps. He'll just go and shuffle back. Like it's incredible. Really fast.
Okay. I have a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
Toughest part about raising Finn the last year and then most rewarding. Let's begin with the toughest.
Walking. When he started walking, chasing him everywhere. So part of the challenge is with our house, it doesn't always go back to the house, but we love our house. Let me just tell you. And then we don't love it at times, but it has different levels to it. So we have 3 sets of stairs that are in the main area, really 4 sets, but 3 sets because there's like little step down, like older homes have.
Yeah, the older style, yeah.
So
like you step down into the
into the front room. You step down into the bonus room, and then you go up the stairs into the studio where we are, or the stairs up in the other side of the house. So it's kind of separate. That's the challenge. There are 4 sets of stairs in our house that you have to go up and down. So we've thought about like, do we do baby gates? And
we would need to get so many
do we
baby
baby proof everything like so seriously, or do we just live with it? And for me, I think I would get frustrated with opening baby gates every time I turn around, because literally every entrance to every room would have the baby gate because of all the extra stairs. So we determined early on we were going to just teach him how to go on the stairs. And that was more you, actually, because I was frustrated with him like constantly being on the stairs. And you said, just let him learn. And I'm glad that we did, because now, y'all, he can't go on the big stairs, but he will hold on to the rail and walk down those 3 steps.
Yeah, that is interesting. So typically you teach a toddler to go down backwards, like on their belly.
We tried.
We've tried that. He has not adopted that.
What he
does is he grabs the rail and then walks down the stairs like an adult.
It's crazy. He is next level. So the girls did not walk until 14 months, both of them. That's when they walked. And Finn is literally running, like you said, climbing,
running,
everything.
Yeah.
So it's just a challenge to chase him, make sure he's not putting things in his mouth. I will clean up the floor. It'll be perfectly clean. And then I'll come over and Finn has something in his mouth, like all the time. Like,
okay, that's something we got to talk about.
Parent. Like you'll find like something that somebody dropped. If it's like a piece of food that one of the girls had just walked through the room, there's like a little piece of food. I'm like, what are you chewing on, boy?
Yep.
And I'll open his mouth. He actually, you say, Finn, what do you have? And he goes, and he like opens his mouth and gives it to me. Earlier, I walked up to him and he had like this marker lid. It was like one of those tall marker lids.
I saw some marker on his lips.
I was like, how Did you get that? It was inside his toy.
Yeah, so that's the reality. Okay, if you don't have a toddler, you could look around your house floors right now and there is nothing dangerous.
You think they're clean.
No. I'm saying if you don't, there's nothing dangerous. But the moment you put a toddler into the space, you will all of a sudden find little plastic jagged etches that are like razor sharp sitting around.
Microscopic
and you go,
sizes.
How did this get here? Why is this here? And then your toddler somehow finds it. Like the amount of times he's picked something up, I'm going, what? How did that get on the floor?
Yeah, it's like right after the floors were vacuumed, right after they're clean. And you look down and you're like, how?
I know. I think in all seriousness, I think those things are just on our floor. We don't notice them. But then if you imagine yourself as a little toddler.
House clean.
No, I know. But I'm just saying it's lived in. But you imagine being a little toddler. You're down on the floor level. You're seeing everything. Like when you and I get down on the floor and
He'll
look.
reach under the couch.
And you find stuff. And I'm just like, dude, how do you find these things? I am looking forward to when he's not going to just put everything, try to taste everything. Okay, so that's the challenge is increased mobility and danger. Oh, speaking of that as well, he climbs everything.
Yeah.
Our girls were not, Felicity a little more than Evie, but we're not big climbers.
No, she was more timid and afraid.
He is climbing everything. Mm-hmm. I mean, he will get on a chair, go on a...
There's like a chair in the dining room and he climbs up on it. There's a bench, he climbs up on it. And he's like average height, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's like, how do you make it up there? I don't know.
Yeah, but then he doesn't know how to get down.
Nope.
So then you hear him go, You know, he's like,
we're watching him at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so that takes a lot of care. Okay, what was the other question I had? The most difficult, but then most cherished?
Oh, yeah. Just how he's so cuddly. It's funny because he's on the move and he doesn't sit very long. But when he does, he'll like run up to us and he'll lay his head down. He'll lay it on your knee, or he'll just run up and like, he'll say, dad, 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 dad. And then he just runs up and he just lays his head on your shoulder. It's the cutest thing ever.
I think one of the best stages of parenting, which is where he's at right now, is when they get excited to see you and they just run into you full speed.
Yeah.
Like no slowing down. They just run into you.
He runs into you full speed. He runs into the cabinet full speed.
And you have to position your legs so that his nose doesn't hit your kneecap.
Yes.
You know, like, because he doesn't care. He's just going full speed.
It's so cute.
Yeah, he is a little cuddle right before this, right before we started recording. He just wanted to be held and just sat there, and I patted his back and he puts his head on your shoulder.
It's so cute.
Hangs out.
He's very smart. He's very, very smart, very aware. Like even when I walked up to him and he had that marker lid a few minutes ago, it was like I said, Finn, what do you have? And he just held it up and he walked to me and gave it to me. Yeah. And he had two of them, 2 of the marker lids he found in his toy.
Yeah, he knows.
He's smart. Jeremy, life update. How are you doing?
Man, well, I'm doing good. Life has been sweet. We're in a really sweet season. And I know we always say season. I don't know another adjective. We're in a really sweet period of life. I think even in light of recent events with family and all that, I was talking to Austin Forsyth about this. You cherish aspects of your life that you often take for granted. Mm-hmm. You know? So I was just talking to somebody about the kids, and it's one of our friends who just got engaged, and she said, man, I'd love to have like several boys, you know, like love boys. Would love girls too, but she was just saying like would love to have baby boys. And I was sitting there thinking like we had 2 girls and then the Lord gave us a boy. And I would have loved to just be a girl dad as well, you know, if we had another girl. I'm just thinking how gracious and kind of the Lord to give me a son, for us to experience the craziness, to experience him climbing everywhere and being nuts. And I was literally thinking we wouldn't have known what that's like if we only had girls.
We sit around in color all day.
Yeah, and play with princesses. And so it's so sweet. Love, you know, all of it. But what a sweet gift that we wouldn't have necessarily even thought to ask for or say, Lord, we really want 2 girls and a boy. And so I've got my son and I've got my 2 little girls. And the other night I did this little game with Felicity where I had her fill in, and I didn't even tell her I was doing it. I just did it and she filled it in naturally. I said, I love you with all my, and she said, heart.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, and I am so proud of, she said,
You.
Felicity.
That's so cute.
And then
You're
I
such a
said,
daddy.
my favorite part of the day is, and she said, holding my hand in the morning.
That's so cute. Now you
Because
got me all
I've told her that,
Yeah.
like this is my favorite part of the day.
That's
And
so sweet.
hearing her respond that way,
Yeah.
I go, these are the things that I value. These are the treasures of life,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm in that stage of life where working, ambitious, building, whether it's in the ministry at the university, whether it's something like this podcast, you're in that stage of life of provision. You're thinking about things like, you got tissues. You grabbed them with your feet.
Well, if I put my face in your shop.
Yeah. But you're at that stage of life where it's like, hey, this is the time to build. This is springtime for the ant, go to the ant, O sluggard. This is where you store up for winter in your 30s and trying to provide for the family. And that can become so consuming. Every night I've got phone calls and I've got text messages, I got emails and I've got projects and you can allow that to obfuscate.
What is that word?
Obfuscate.
I don't know that word.
To muddy, I guess.
Muddy the waters.
Yeah,
That's a good word.
Distract, get in the way of what the real treasures are. And not to say ambition and provision for your family isn't good. I mean, that is driven by a love for your family, right? We were put on this earth to work. God made man and woman in his image and told them to be fruitful, multiply, and keep the ground, to subdue the earth. So that's good. But I've just been thinking, even in a moment when you see children whose father is taken away from them, the devastation of Joe's behavior isn't just the effects on Joe. It's the effect on all those who he's damaged and the victim, but it's also his children have just lost their father.
Mm-hmm.
And so what does that do for me?
Mm-hmm.
It makes me hug my kids tighter and say, well, I want to be the best father I can be for them,
Mm-hmm.
and it reminds you when you see someone who's lost the greatest treasures in their lives, it reminds you of what the greatest treasures are in yours.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've had a lot of those thoughts, a lot of reevaluating what's valuable.
Reality checks of life. Yeah. Oof.
Yeah. And just enjoying this stage of parenthood. I mean, I do feel bad sometimes. I go off to work and I know that you are constantly having to watch this little boy. I turned away last night for like 30 seconds and he was halfway up the stairs. And we have these like semicircle spiral staircases, which, spiral staircases, they get real narrow on the inside track of the stairs, which when you fall, and that's dangerous for him. And he's halfway up because I went to the trash can, and then turned around. I'm going, man, he's taking constant attention. He's keeping you on your toes all day.
I sleep really good at night.
Yes, you do. And you're doing such an incredible job. But
sweet.
In the midst of that, it's like, man, you and I have these little kids that we get to invest in once, and it's making an impact on the rest of their life. So yeah, just valuing, just, I guess a bit of contemplation, but enjoyment, really enjoying the sweetness of where we're at. Our marriage, I think, I could always be a better husband, but I think we're doing well. And our kids, I've wanted to be more consistent. We pray every night, but reading the word, singing together each night, enjoying them, going on family walks. It's kind of cool. Like where we live, we get to go on a family walk. And last night, again, go on a family walk and, 30 yards down the street, a coyote's walking in the street. He starts coming toward us and then he sees us and he runs the other way. And then we've got horses, our neighbors have horses And so you got horses in the pasture, and then you look up and there's an owl, a great horned owl, is sitting on a telephone pole.
And we're hoping he's not going to swoop down and kill us.
Yeah. Speaking of that, do you know what an educated owl says?
Ooh.
Whom? Anyway, so it's just like, man, these are special days.
Yeah.
And they're days that I don't want to take for granted. I don't want to, they're going to fly by, but I don't want them to fly by me, look back and go, man, my head was embroiled in my phone because I had these emails to send and I had these projects to work on. And I didn't, stop to appreciate what is really valuable about these days. Mm-hmm. So because these days are sweet.
They really are sweet. Yeah.
Are you encouraged overall, like in your own soul, in your own heart? Where are you at?
Yeah, I think I'm doing good. I'm just plugging along in regular life. And I think having a good community is so helpful. So even in those very hard days that we are walking through and have walked through recently, I just look at it and say, man, it's been so difficult. And also I see, like you said, the things you value. So our family and how God's been so kind to us and even bringing me out of a lot of those theological differences that have given me a perspective on everything in a different way that I wouldn't have had walking through that trial before. And friends, true friends. And that's something that you can't put a price tag on. And so when I'm having hard days, even, in like the long days with littles who are needy, it's challenging. Like going to the store can be really hard. You just want to browse the aisle of Target and look at items for the bathroom remodel, and the kids melt down. And that literally happened to me today. And I was starting to get a little frustrated. And then I was like, no, it's fine. I don't have to do this now. It's fine. I can just come back another time. And I think it does put things into perspective when you walk through hardships and trials. And you do remember what actually matters. It's not getting that bathroom decorated and, you have your kids along with you and they're cranky. It's like, well, no, I can have a little extra grace. It's fine. It doesn't matter. That can wait. And yeah, I think I'm really grateful for friends.
Yeah.
Really grateful for community, especially in seasons like this where it's been hard with all that we've, had to walk through again. Having people who really care genuinely about you and reach out and drop off homemade muffins at your door, do park dates, coffee, run, whatever it is, those little things. And then just texting and saying, I'm praying for you and I'm here if you need anything. That means the world. And so, yeah, I think it's been a hard season in the pain that those open wounds, I think, it reopens wounds from the past, and that's hard. But then also looking on the other side of it, now moving forward, having joy in the little things. If it's just a little thing that day that has gone well, or, just watching your kid, watching Finn try to talk and explore new things is so fun. And I think that is such a gift. And so, yeah, there are seasons where spiritually you'll be very encouraged and everything is really deep and happy and joyful. But then in seasons of hardship and trial, I think it shows you, even when you feel like, man, am I really living out the Christian life? Am I actually really trusting God? And sometimes it's hard to know when you're just in the thick of parenting because it takes up so much of your time. Your waking moments, you're going to sleep, you're hoping you can get a hot shower at the end of the day because there's little time to focus on the Lord, on what matters. But then looking back over the scope of this time, and then when trials come up, you see that God is carrying you through and you are relying on him, there's a deep conviction and strength that you know that God is trustworthy and you know his word is trustworthy. And you just look at the good gifts of God, even in the darkness, the little joys that he brings and gives us. And it really is encouraging to see how he's been there the whole time, and he cares for his children, and he draws near to us. No matter what season we're in the joys or the sorrows, and parenting where it's hard and parenting when it's joyful, like he's there. And the friendship with God, knowing that he's there, is amazing too. So yeah, I don't know. That's a lot of rambling, but there's just been a lot that's happened.
Yeah, that's good. Well, yeah, God has been good. I think that's the resounding note of this little update from us. We're so grateful for all of you. The overwhelming support we've received from you guys, our listeners, has been just that, overwhelming. Thousands of messages, and we read them. We can't read every single one, but it has been so encouraging. So thank you for your kindness, for your prayers. Please be praying, obviously, for those who are more even immediately affected in this situation, the children, the family. Yeah, be praying. Grateful for you guys. Thanks for coming along with us every week and just tuning in to see what's happening in our lives and to enjoy the conversations we're having with guests and those sort of things. Super grateful for you guys, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week.